Right, so it's been a little while since we spoke about Illuminaughtii, and we actually have an update that might give a bit more of an idea of why she is so determined to try and sue people and get money off them. And that's because, seemingly, Illuminaughtii is being sued herself. And the reasons why she's being sued is for financial reasons, for not paying certain debts. I mean, we heard Ozmedia in his video talk about why Blair was putting so much debt in Ozmedia's name, and it's because she actually had bad credit.
In the beginning, Blair walked me into several poor financial decisions. My naivety caused me to believe her reassurances that I could handle all of the financial obligations being dropped onto my shoulders by someone more experienced in life than I was. Why these obligations were placed onto me? At the time, Blair had bad credit, so all of the purchases, loans, everything was being placed in my name. This included the car that she purchased, then revoked from Wonderstruck.
And I feel like the situation we're talking about today just strengthens that even more. Now, I do just want to give full credit to Madcatser. I feel like I've said that so much recently, but genuinely, he is great at this type of content, you know, looking into lawsuits and whatnot, and he's usually the first to this type of stuff, so I would highly recommend checking out his videos. But he did upload this video called Illuminaughtii is being sued. It was uploaded 4 days ago. I would highly recommend watching that, because he knows a lot more on topics like this than I do, so I'll leave a link in the description. Now, the first thing that Madcatser showed in this video is that Blair actually has some unpaid taxes. As we can see right here on the Colorado Department of Revenue, there is apparently an amount due of $14,188. And let me just say right now, if this was anybody else, I wouldn't be talking about it, right? I wouldn't be talking about someone not being able to pay tax and whatnot. But the reason why this is interesting is because Blair is trying to ruin a lot of people financially, right? She's trying to sue 3 different people that we know of right now. She clearly has zero empathy when it comes to other people's financial situations, and maybe this adds some context onto why she's so desperate to do this, but then also raises questions. Why is she willing to spend so much on lawyer fees when this is happening? And in fact, they actually got a judgment against Blair, as we can see right here, and the judgment was actually for an amount of $26,796 that hadn't been paid. And that is before interest. I don't know the ins and outs of how much interest would be on that, but I imagine it's a bit more. Now, the case was closed because the court issued judgment, but as we can see right here, it actually says status unsatisfied, meaning it doesn't seem like she's actually paid the amount. And I mean, you would think that someone like Blair would be able to pay that amount pretty easily, because she has been getting a crazy amount of views for a long time. Of course, at the minute she's not, but she was, right? She was getting millions of views on some videos. YouTube pays really well for that type of views, okay? She definitely has earned a lot of money throughout the years. But as we mentioned with Ozmedia's video before, he was saying that Blair was in really bad credit. She would put a bunch of debt on other people. It seems like throughout the years, she's maybe bit off a bit more than she can chew, in the sense that she might have took on a lot of debt, right? And one portion of that debt that we do know about, Blair is actually being sued for. As we can see right here, as recent as December 5th of 2023, literally pretty much a month to the day. In fact, it will be a month to the day as you're watching this video right now. We can see that Blair has actually been sued by Marshall Recovery LLC, probably like a debt collection thing, right? And the amount claimed from the defendant is $3,600, which for Blair really shouldn't be that much, especially when she is currently suing 3 different people, right? She's having to pay crazy lawyer fees on these, I imagine, but she hasn't paid off this $3,000 debt that she's now being sued for. It doesn't really make sense to me. And especially when we bear in mind that multiple attorneys have now looked at Illuminaughtii's lawsuit against Ozmedia, Wonderstruck, and Felix the Kit Kat, and they have said it's a bit of a frivolous lawsuit.
This is an unbelievably weak complaint, in my opinion, and I think the fact that she timed it to happen when she was also commencing the foreclosure, to me, it just seems like overkill. It seems like she's really gunning for Oz, and the other 2 I think are just like collateral damage. I think she's really piling it on, trying to intimidate him, trying to harass him, in my opinion, and trying to make his life an absolute hell. And you're gonna see when we go over this how absolutely ridiculous all of this is.
There's not really much in her favor on that lawsuit, meaning there's a high possibility that she could lose it. And who knows if she'll get countersued because of this. I don't know exactly how that'll work, but it seems like she might put herself in a really bad situation, as if she wasn't already in a bad situation. And it does also beg the question, why is she willing to try and put people in bad financial situations when she's got a few issues herself going on at the minute, right? Why is she willing to do that? She must know how stressful it is. But again, she just has no empathy for anyone. She tried taking away Ozmedia's home, for fuck's sake. I don't think she would be very happy if debt collectors came around and tried taking stuff of her because she didn't pay certain debts, which I imagine is something that will happen if these things aren't paid, right? With like the $14,000 we spoke about before, with this as well. She might start having to give up certain items to pay for this type of stuff, and I'm sure she won't like it. So why do it with someone else? Especially when it's something like a home, you know? It's not like just giving up a laptop or something like that. It's literally a home. If there's one thing that you should never try and take away from someone, it's that, right? But yeah, like I mentioned mentioned before, if this was anybody else, I wouldn't speak about it, right? People are in bad financial situations everywhere, right? But it's just because she is willing to try and put other people in such bad financial situations and put people through the stress of lawsuits and whatnot. It just becomes very ironic when you hear stuff like this. Especially since she seemed very, very pissed that she thought, in her opinion, that Wonderstruck didn't pay, like, certain amounts to her for the car and whatnot, and then she's currently in this situation. It's very ironic. And I'm sure I've heard before that Blair has been at a point in her life where she's making, like, 6 figures a month, which is a crazy amount of money. I'm sure she has earned well over $1 million on YouTube, right? And I think that is lowballing it quite a bit. So that was always a thing that was, like, confusing to me. Like, why is she so determined to try and sue these people for money, right? She is well off. She doesn't need to care about money. But maybe she does. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe it's nothing to do with that. Maybe she just wants to put people through the stress. Maybe she just wants to scare them and intimidate them not to speak about anymore. Who knows what her thought process is at this point, because it's very hard to read, isn't it? Nothing she does seems to make sense throughout any of these situations, but this could have something to do with it. Who knows? I would love to know your thoughts actually down below in the comments. Now, also an update to end this video. OzMedia's actually tweeted out an update to his whole situation with the foreclosure. Obviously, the last time we spoke about OzMedia, it was when he was doing that live stream. He was trying to raise money to help pay off this foreclosure, and he did raise the money. We just had to wait and see kind of what was happening, and he's now given an update. I'm officially out of the foreclosure proceedings with Blair and her company. This doesn't mean things are over, but it's one step closer to having my life back. Thank you everyone who supported me so far, whether through donations, kind words, being there for my streams, and all the little things that have been done. Thank you. Which is great news, right? Blair is not going to be taking his home, which is the main thing here. Obviously, there is the lawsuit for like defamation and whatever else that's still going on. Again, a bunch of attorneys have already looked at that on YouTube videos. Seems like she doesn't really have much of a case, but who knows what's going to happen with that. I feel like it might be a bit of a long process, but main thing here is that he's not going to have his home taken off him, because nobody deserves that. And you can just imagine that Blair would have been fuming when she found out about this. She would have been raging. I think she really wanted to do that, hence why she even went for it in the first place. But yeah, good news anyways. As for Blair herself, she is still uploading videos like she normally was, and to be honest, it seems like her views have kind of went up a little bit. I remember a bit longer when we were looking at her views, she was getting like 10 to 15,000 views on a video at some points, right? At the minute, she's getting like 40k, 64k, 47, 35, 51, 56, like they are creeping back up again. And that is something that probably will happen again, because the internet does forget, right? There's a reason why her videos were getting the views they were before. There's a chance it could happen again. They are starting to creep up, and like I mentioned before, the internet does forget. But yeah, that's kind of the update on her. She still hasn't really said anything too much publicly, even though she said that she would in that tweet a long time ago at this point. But it looks like she's just trying to move on from it, do all the legal proceedings behind the scenes, and then just focus on the videos. That's what it seems like. But either way, I would love to know your thoughts on everything that we spoke about in today's video. If you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, subscribe if you are new, also subscribe to Madcatser, that'll be linked in the description, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.